Oh, cool. Everyone's good. No questions. Oh, that means you're understanding it. So now we've looked at. I just want to relate this back to our method now. If you think about what we've done so far, we've hopefully been in our street and we've located all the lighting, and then we've located all the LV services, and we've also started to locate some of the LV mains. So we're concentrating on the electrics, yeah. Sorry, siren going off. What we also need to now consider is multiple LV mains. And I'm going to show you some examples. Now, I know Rebecca's here with us, so she'll probably recognise this drawing. This is some stuff up at Livingston, and it's a little example that we use. So if you're not familiar with Scottish power plants, the LV's brown and the HV's red. If you kind of imagine here, we've got 4 cables, 2 HV, 2 LV. The cat on power and radio doesn't make any sense about it. You just get a signal everywhere. Let's ignore the HV for now, and let's focus on how we can find those 2 LV cables accurately. If using the techniques I've just shown you about hooking up to a building, if we hook up to house 6, the majority of the Genny signal will be on the top cable, so we can locate it. We then hook up to house number 5, the majority Genny signal will be on the bottom cable, we can locate it. So we're going to use our plans to help us, yeah? We're going to look at the plans to help us plan our attack, if you like, of where we're going to apply the Genny signal. This is a UKPN drawing for Kent. And it is, if you're not used to plans, guys, it can be confusing. Each region in the UK has different standards of plans and different colours. So whereas you just saw on that one, Scottish Power used brown as LV, down in Kent, UKPN used green. People often look at that, think it's cable TV, but it's not. So there's 2 LV mains here. The cat on its own, again, only finds 1 on both power and radio. We need to find them both. So let's zoom out, take a step back and look at these cables in more detail. What we can see, so imagine we're digging here, but what we actually see down here is the split. So where does this house get its power from? Top or bottom cable. And where does this house get its power from? Top or bottom cable. You get the idea, guys? So by applying my Genny signal here first and then here second, I'll locate those 2 cables really easily. I could even use the columns here, guys. But it's a principle is what I'm talking about using your plans to help you, think outside the box. Forgive the pun a little bit, but we focus too much on the excavation sometimes without thinking about what might run through it and how we get a signal onto it. The other thing that I want to touch on here is depth. So a lot of the Cat 4s now, there's a plus version, have depth estimation on it. And I know that for some companies out there, they don't like the guys having depth. In fact, there's a training course going on next door. We had a conversation about depth before. What we have to understand, though, is that depth isn't just to see how deep something is before we excavate. It gives me a lot more information than that. So on this example here, what actually happens is, so remember the mindset again. We're digging a hole here, but I'm not going to start excavating until I've found both those cables with my locator. Okay, we hook up to this house and we trace this cable and we get an X marks the spot. Then we hook up to this house, we trace this cable, but it's actually in the exact same position. Bang on the same mark. So your first thought is kind of, am I tracing the same cable again? Is it actually split? Do you know what I mean? Is the 2 separate cables there? However, when I was hooked up to house number 1 at this X here, I did a depth estimate on the cat and it was 600 mil. When I'm hooked up to house number 14 over here, even though the locate is in the same place, the depth is now telling me it's 300 mil. Do you understand what that's telling me? It's telling me that I have found both those cables. The reason the mark is in the same place is because they're on top of each other. Do you all understand that, guys? Please just give me a yes if you're okay with that. So depth has its uses, yeah? I can give you another 10 reasons why depth's important, guys, but we haven't got time on this session. There's many reasons for it, not just to see how deep something is before we dig on it. Similar one here, guys. This is Western Power. Again, blue, LV. So imagine that we're excavating here. We've got 2 LV mains to find. Okay. What does a cat do on power and radio? Finds 1. So how do we find them both? Because sometimes people say, well, it's all right you're saying that, Pete, but my plans don't show house services. Right? Doesn't matter, does it? Where does this house get its power from? Yeah. And where does this house get its power from? We don't need the house services on there to tell us. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? So we hook up to this house and we trace that one, and then this one, and we trace that one. So hopefully, guys, that makes sense. But what I'm trying to get at here is we need to plan the survey a little bit. We need to use our plans and look at where is the best place to put that Genny going to be. And remember what the session's called? How do we get the best out of the Genny? And this is how we do that. So we're then back to our process, guys. Sorry, we've hopefully now done all the LV. Yeah, we've located it all. Now we're going to move on to the comms, and this is where our signal plan comes.